I am Craig Hamilton Parker. For 25 years, I've been using clairvoyance and dream analysis to help real people understand their paralyzing dreams. Every morning at 3:30, Lena wakes from this nightmare paralyzed.
This nightmare started occurring, I'd say, in the past couple of years. I wake up around 3 in the morning. My grandmother, who is deceased, who I never met, died around 3:33 a.m. And I've experienced very intense dreams with her where I woke up on the dot at 3:33 a.m. So it's 3:33 a.m. This is the time that my Nona usually comes to visit me. I don't know why she's visiting me. I don't know what she's trying to tell me. Automatically, the thought is death knocking on my door.
Well, Lena, what I'd like you to do now, please, is to describe to me your nightmare.
My nightmare begins in my room at home. I wake up out of bed and something is drawing me to walk towards the front of the house. And I look out the window and I see this red hearse floating in the street, facing my house. There was no one in the hearse to be found. It was simply floating in the street, facing my house. So I just went back to bed, fell back asleep in my dream. I felt this physical presence pushing on me. Kind of a cold, wet, rough-skinned hand. I opened my eyes and I saw this creature who was hunched over, sitting there, this devilish laugh and this devilish grin staring at me. I felt like he was going to kill me. I called to my brother for help. He said he would be right there and that he was in the bathroom. And when I realized that he wasn't coming for help, I kind of had to just wait it out. Something had led me to go downstairs to my basement. There was a children's easel, and on it, I saw lettering being written as if someone was standing there, but there was no one there. And it said, "To my granddaughter, I love you and I miss you. Love, your Nona." I woke up and I felt paralyzed for a couple of minutes after I woke up.
Well, that's very interesting. And what I'd like to do now is to go through your nightmare one symbol at a time. One of the first symbols is a car. Vehicles in dreams can have a number of layers of meaning. One of the things that amuses me a little bit about cars is that it's one of the only symbols that Sigmund Freud considered not to be a sexual symbol in a dream. He thought of it as a representation of the progress of his psychoanalysis. Similarly, cars can also show your progress through life, and depending upon how a car is shown, it can show this type of progress you're making. The next symbol we have emerging in your nightmare is an archetypal symbol, something that has been with mankind for centuries. This almost demonic figure. The Golem has appeared in myths throughout the ages, so appeals to us on a very, very deep level of our unconscious. It also has a slight connotation of death with it as well. A grandmother figure can represent a guiding influence in your dream. There may be personal associations as well, but grandmothers in life usually stand slightly apart from the family troubles and can often be wise and represent in many respects that aspect of yourself that knows best. Your nightmare also reveals another interesting concept. The paranormal time is the time that many people consider as the time we wake up in the night when special activities are around us. When we first go to sleep, we have a period of deep dreaming. We have a dreaming period during the middle of the night and a dreaming period just before we wake up. Many people will wake up at the break of one cycle, and this often comes around about 3 o'clock. But from my personal experience, this is the time when most people seem to report that they have had a connection with someone from the other side. So perhaps this is a special time, even though it does also correspond to natural activity within the sleep pattern. Okay, Lena, now I'm going to move on to a deeper analysis of your nightmare. Are you prepared to hear what your nightmare means?
Yes.
So this nightmare is a nightmare about death primarily, but death may have other significant meanings as well as a literal death. The symbol of a hearse kind of sets the tone of the dream in many ways. The hearse is red. Now, would we not associate red with alarm, urgency? And it hovers like the sword of Damocles that hung over the hero, ready to fall. It's the same in your life. There is this ominousness. So I feel that in your life there has been a lot of personal crisis. Now, this dream started within about 3 years.
Yes.
And could I also say that within that time when the dream started, there was a major emotional breakup in your life? That there was a point where you could almost have been married.
Yes, that's correct.
So I feel also here that in the dream we are now beginning to see symbols beginning to appear that represent your sense of despair at that particular point in time. The hearse represents everything that was happening to you then. Life was like a moving death, you know, emotionally.
Yes.
You ask yourself, here represented by your brother, what's it all about? What's happening? And all your brother does is go off to the bathroom. So you were left with a dilemma. And part of you called out for greater wisdom. And your grandmother made a connection. Now I'm going to move on a little bit further into this dream because we also see a golem-like creature that is pushed on your chest and held you to the bed. The figure will often occur with people that suffer from what is called sleep paralysis. Now, between 25 and 30% of the population have a condition that means that the back of their brain wakes up slightly slower than the conscious mind. So the conscious mind wakes up, but the part of the brain that would normally let us get out of bed is still holding the body in its position. So there you are in a state of fear, and your unconscious mind is building this evil image onto you and pinning you to the bed and giving you a traumatic experience.
I've experienced that several times.
This is a condition that is caused by all the anguish that happens in your life. And 3 years ago, you had serious problems.
Yes.
So I would say to you, you're not going to die prematurely. Death nightmares must not always be taken too literally. The dream is a healing process. The nightmare has been put aside. In the future, it will turn to more positive dreams.
Wow, words of wisdom to think about. I thought Craig's interpretation was great. The part that resonated with me the most was him being able to pinpoint the time in my life that I had this nightmare and all the factors that were going on in my life at the time. It was a very emotionally draining and stressful time for me, so that definitely connected with what he was saying. I think I will sleep well tonight knowing that I most likely will not die tomorrow and Satan is not haunting me.